So, there's definitely a lot of importance when it comes to a video game's opening sequence. Whether these cinematics are used for actually promoting the game, or build some hype around it for people to see what they can expect. Today, we look at the less than great opening of Phantasy Star Online 2's Episode 5, also known as the Crimson Castle Crusher, the Red Dragon, Akagi Jaryu, or even yeah, let's not go there. Anyways, back to our point. Is it really that bad? On the very first 5 seconds of the opening, when you first hear the singer sing an almost a cappella version of some language you don't know, the first impression you already get from this is basically, this is already very different from the previous PSO2 game openings, because when you really think about it, the episode 4 opening with the Yamato or the episode 3 opening with the Magatsu and all of that is all very orchestral and really epic sounding. However, this opening for episode 5 really starts off with a serene sound. It is simply just that different from how the other openings make the game actually look. Now, to look at this opening visually at the very beginning, you see a scenery of a very beautiful castle on a very wide shot, and then you see the very beautiful skies and the water. Coupled with the peaceful music and nothing going on, you'd be easily lured into a false sense of security, feeling that there's almost nothing wrong going on at all, until the logo of the 30-year Phantasy Star actually comes up on the screen, which your eyes will immediately focus from anywhere that you're looking on the screen right onto the middle. And that exactly is why it's very smart. Because you won't be looking at the center as much as the scenery. When the logo actually appears, as you can see in the middle in between the two logos, you will see that the castle is actually destroyed by something, and we don't know what it is. Comparing this again to the other openings of Phantasy Star Online 2, this is the first time in any opening ever where we actually get the suspense of what is actually going on here. With that, it built a lot of anticipation, which makes you actually invested into this and seeing what is actually going on here. In which a few seconds later we are answered with the giant explosion on top of the castle, thus immediately directing our eyes right to the explosion. And now before I continue, I would like to tell you about a certain concept called shot continuity. And this will be something that I will actually be looking at a lot in this video, so please keep that in mind. I'll be using this circle to represent where your eyes should be focusing at, in which here is the very top of the castle, which then immediately cuts to a very close-up shot of the actual explosion that happened, but notice that your eyes are actually at the right place. This is thanks to shot continuity. It helps the audience focus on what they're looking at visually so that they can actually absorb the information a lot better and then continue on with storytelling through the visuals alone. Continuing on, we see the figure of something flying out of the dust. At this point, that something is actually flying towards the right side of the screen, which will avert your eyes there. The shot then cuts to a fast camera and you see a bridge. And naturally, as you see something moving on the bridge, your eyes are directed towards it. And then before you know it, the shot already changes and we see these two characters, which is easily assumed to be the two main characters of this opening sequence, in which visually you can see that they are in a rush, having us a sense of urgency, which then ties into the theme of the Crimson Castle Crusher actually being an emergency quest. And now with the shadows and all, this is the first time we actually see the dragon. Notice how continued the shots are from the very beginning of this opening to now. As we continue on with this fast-paced battle scene, we see the dragon charging a fireball and shooting it towards the two characters. The shot cuts perfectly to them dodging the fireball into actually counterattacking the dragon. In addition to that, this is also the first time we see the character scale compared to how huge the dragon is. It actually shows how big of a threat, literally, the dragon actually is. But yet our two heroes are still brave enough to face it, never backing down at all. As this whole cinematic was meant to showcase the hero class, we actually did get a representation of all three weapons as well, which is the sword, TMG, and talus respectively. Now, there's one very particular thing about this next scene. As you can see here, there are two circles now, in which I want you all to see how both of these circles actually interact with each other. Because one circle, the blue one, will actually focus if your eyes go follow the dragon, or the other one is if your eyes follow the sun. So let's see how it plays out here. Following the blue circle here, you'd be met with an open sky with nothing there. However, it ends up on you focusing on where the hero actually drops into the scene. While on the other hand, if you followed the green circle, you'd be seeing the dragon as he actually runs into the Laconium sword. But no matter which way your eyesight is actually focused on, it will always end up in this one sequence where you see the cut of the hero unsheathing and handling the Laconium sword. Now before we continue on with the climax of this opening sequence, I would like to have a small recap of what we've seen by far. Starting off in the very beginning, we're opened with a very beautiful sequence of something that looks really fantasy medieval, something we've never seen before in Phantasy Star Online 2. Just from the few opening seconds, us as a viewer and the player here will be able to easily determine the mood and tone in which the cinematic is going to go, which is represented to what episode 5 will be all about. Next, we have our first unveiling of our main characters here, which is shown in a scene where they are both running really urgently, highlighting the theme of how much of an emergency this actually is. Which, well, we all know that this turned into an emergency quest, so it only makes sense, right? Next, we get to see our antagonist, which is the dragon, which we actually do get to see how menacing the dragon actually is, and also how huge he is when compared to our main characters. However, despite the odds, we see that our main characters never back down and continues to fight. In addition to this, we also get to see the hero class featured with all three of its weapons, with the sword, twin machine gun, and talus respectively. Now personally, when it comes to the Laconium sword scene, I actually really like that they presented it like this, because the viewers who actually watch this opening, and then when they actually play the actual quest, they'll know that the Laconium sword is actually something really important that you have to pick up, and of course eventually use against the evil red dragon. Now we arrive here at the climax of our opening cinematic, where we then see all the other 10 characters, in which, this is a 12-man emergency quest, so there has to be 12 people. They're just standing there in the back, looking really relaxed in general. Why? Because our two heroes in the front here has the Laconium sword and shield, representing that they are the ones who will be leading the charge, and that they are the ones who will be protecting everyone. The heroes that inspires us all to fight against this great evil. With that, they lead us into battle against the evil dragon, coupled with a very beautiful cinematic shot of everyone charging in, and then transitioning into the main character going in fearless against even the great dragon's fireball. And that is the power of thematic presentation in Phantasy Star Online 2's episode 5's opening cinematic. So, with all that said and done, what do you all think about the episode 5 opening now? Is it really that bad? Or perhaps did it actually open new perspectives for you to actually see the direction of why SEGA decided to make this opening the way it is? Whether you like or dislike it, agree or disagree with everything that I said, let me know in the comments. I'm personally really excited to see what you all think about this opening as a whole, so please feel free to share your opinions. I'll try to read all of them as I can, or if you're interested, you can also come join us in the Discord and just have open conversations. The link, of course, is in the description below. With that said, thank you very much for making it all the way towards the end of the video. I know that this is actually a little bit longer than I expected, but hey, I think it's worth it. Now the next goal will be looking at the opening of episode 6 whenever that drops, as well as looking at Phantasy Star Online 2 episode Oracle the anime. I am so excited for that and I can't wait to see what all of you think about that. Once again, thank you very much for taking your time to watch this video. And as always, don't forget to smile and hope you're having a great day. As Elira is signing off.